Let's move to three players who earned playing time in the spring showcase and kind of in spring football writ large, right? Because the showcase is sort of the most public version of practice and what coaches have been seeing and whatnot. First guy who stood out when you watch the showcase was Jaydn Ott, someone who we've talked about here on the show before with John Garcia of Sports Illustrated. He is a true freshman this year, an early enrollee, and he's the kind of guy who we're talking about explosive plays. He has the potential to do just that. And when you watch him run, you don't see this from a lot of true freshmen. It's pretty rare because a lot of times I think those sorts of guys have to, or they feel like they have to overcompensate, run hard, and they're going to finish, and they're going to hit the hole hard, all this sort of stuff. Jaydn Ott has plenty of explosivity to his game, if that's even a word. Plenty of explosiveness is the word I believe that I'm searching for there. But he shows great patience, and I love that in a running back. Have offensive linemen pulling around, which their offensive coordinator, Bill Musgrave, does quite a bit, right? Whether it's on a trap play from under center or a toss play with a pulling guard or something of the sorts. Cal pulls offensive linemen pretty regularly in the running game. And so having the patience to let him get up into the hole to create an even bigger hole potentially is a great feature for a running back to have. And I think Jaydn Ott showed that really well in the spring showcase. And when he runs, he's got this jitterbug component to him, and he has explosive speed as well. If he can find that sort of running lane and get to the second level. But I like what I saw for a guy who's not tremendously big. I don't know that he'd be a number one running back per se for Cal, but I expect him to get some carries and touches this fall because he's someone who you want to get the ball to in space and also just gives him some opportunities between the tackles as well. Was talking about the wide receivers a moment ago. That over-the-shoulder catch was made by Maven Anderson. And the redshirt freshman from Mission Viejo, California, plays in the slot, had that beauty. He ran a great route and made a nice catch on an absolute dime from Jack Plummer in the spring showcase. That's the sort of play that Cal has been missing. And that's the sort of play that they need from an assortment of guys, right? The other receivers that I mentioned, Christakos, Sturdivant, like all those guys have to do it from time to time. But I think you look at a guy like Maven Anderson, and he is squarely in that group of wide receivers who are capable of producing the sorts of plays that have just been missing from this offense and that they need to get over 500 and get back to a bowl game in 2022. Defensively, that's where Cal makes their money, right? I mean, it always has been. Been talking about it today. We'll continue to talk about it here on the show because that's what they do with a defensive-minded head coach who put together some great defenses at Washington and has done the same thing at Cal, coached some really good players as well. Evan Weaver among them. There have been a litany of quality players in the conference on the defensive side who have come from the Cal Bears. Offensively, little hit and miss, but there might be some guys in that wide receiver unit who could stand out this year. But defensively, I think you look out for Raymond Woodie III. He's going to be in his second year with Cal this season, and he transferred over from Florida State. He's a former four-star recruit. Interesting note about him, moving around is pretty regular for him because he played 4 years of high school football at 4 different high schools. Now, and you can make of that what you will. I just thought I'd share because I don't know of many guys who have done that in their careers. But Cal's pretty deep at the safety position. But now that he's in his second season, he's got all the physical tools and he's made some nice plays as well. He's had a great set of spring practices from everything that you read about Cal. He has a chance to make himself into a regular contributor. And, if he can build off the strong spring that he's had, then defensively, that's a name that Cal Bears fans should get used to calling this year on the defensive side of the ball. Raymond Woodie III, I think could be kind of an anchor style player at the back end of Justin Wilcox's defense this year.